It's time for me to learn about something new in Trackmania, something I think I am a casual fan of it, but I don't think I learn a lot about it. So it's a pleasure to welcome in an expert and a guy who is pushing in this scene. Is Rasta, and he's here to talk about the speedrunning scene that is somewhat blowing up in Trackmania at the moment. But first of all, welcome to the Trackmania Live, Rasta. How is life?
Um, well, life's going great. I finished my holidays, so I'm back to work. I mean, back to school. So quite difficult to go back to school in August with these rising temperatures in the south of France. And yeah, so it's quite difficult. So this is why everything's closed. I don't see the sky during the day because it's so hot in there. It's like 30 degrees. I have no air conditioning, so I'm dying, but I'm fine.
30 degrees. I mean, I think I
Yeah,
have like 12 at the moment. So yeah,
my
I cannot.
ESA run, it was like 31 degrees during my ESA run. At the end, I was sweating. I had to take a shower because it was just a nightmare.
But can you tell people that might not know who you are? This is the first time you are on this channel, so maybe some
Yep.
of my subscribers doesn't know who you are. I mentioned you are one of these guys who's pushing the speedrunning scene, but I guess you are better to explain who you are. Who are you and what do you do in Trackmania?
Well, I started Trackmania in late 2015, so I'm not a new player, but I'm also not an old player. I mean, I did play Trackmania DS for like an hour, but it was ages ago. And so yeah, I started with just casual Valley, Stadium, etc. And the first game I bought was Valley, so quite surprising choice. Not many people online, but it was quite fun. And then I had a few months on the crew. It was a really nice game, and then I moved on to Turbo, where I spent most of my time on Trackmania.
Hmm.
And when I was on Turbo, I noticed the speedrun communities from different games. I was watching a lot of speedruns, and I was like, maybe I should do some Trackmania speedruns. And there were like 200 tracks in the Trackmania Turbo solo campaign, so I thought this would be a good challenge to do the first speedrun of the solo campaign in a Trackmania Turbo. It took me almost 5 hours, really long, but it was really entertaining. And yeah, that's how I started Trackmania speedruns. It was not really active at that point. There was a moderator that left in early 2017, so Alpines, and then I decided to take charge of a speedrunning community. And for a few years, I've been joined by Darklink, so we're managing the community together.
Hmm. Yeah, how big would you say that the speedrunning scene is at the moment? I mean, the only time I personally know about it and is somewhat showing up in my feed is, of course, when it's ESA and now once virtual did games done quick. But how big is the speedrunning scene in Trackmania? Would you say?
Well, it's not really big. It's not really known by players. There are a few. There are not full-time speedrunners on Trackmania. It's not like on other games like Minecraft or The Legend of Zelda, where you will see people streaming entirely Zelda speedruns for hours. So myself, I don't speedrun that much. I just play the game casually, and yeah, so not that many speedrunners, but we did see some speedruns at some big marathons. So I'm really proud about this, and maybe you can talk about that too.
Yeah, because now we see some big numbers. I mean, yesterday Virtual had 80,000 viewers. Do you think that the speedrunning scene is something that will eventually grow up, or would you think that it's going to become like a niche part of Trackmania that we only see sometimes at some big speedrunning assemblies?
Well, right now it's a niche, but I was thinking of a new contest, a new monthly contest to bring more players, possibly pro streamers and like Yoli Virtual or other French streamers. So we'll see how this will go. We will launch it next month. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Maybe we'll get more speedrunners because right now most of the speedrunners are just casual players and not pro players.
Hmm. So you think we will need pro players to eventually grow the scene, or how
Yeah,
are the speedrunning scene going to grow?
well, we will need some fight between streamers. Back then on Stadium, there was a fight on the white tracks between Symbiose and Spam. It went on for a few days or a few weeks, I don't really remember. It was really nice, but we haven't seen any big fight between top players.
Hmm. Any players? If you could pick like may I say a four-man battle, who would the four players be?
Speedrun wise, well, Rioli, because I consider him as the best Trackmania solo player, and maybe then maybe Spam. He's been around for a lot of time, and he's been the first to speedrun a Trackmania game at ESA. And then I would pick Virtual, And last name would be Demon, because he's been doing some speedruns lately, and he has some really sick records on Nations Forever.
I have spoken briefly about it because it has been a topic that has been brought up on this Let's Talk Trackmania. It's not a topic that I have personally wanted to necessarily speak about, but once I'm asked about it, I share my view on it, and that is a casual view of this speedrun. And I have mentioned some good parts. Good parts, of course, being that it's really good for a casual fan to discover Trackmania, but also maybe confusing because you show so many different games. Yourself speedrun Trackmania 2 Canyon, virtual streamed or speedrun Trackmania Nations Forever, and then Riolo Trackmania, the new Trackmania, at the same speedrunning assembly. Do you think that maybe the Trackmania community should focus on one game to speedrun, or is it good that we showcase that it's so many possibilities in a Trackmania speedrun?
Well, there's surely going to be a game that will be speedrun the most. I mean, last year on Trackmania Stadium, the green tracks, so the green category, was chosen as part of the Ultime Decathlon, a French speedrunning event. So for a few months, we had to run 10 speedruns, and we had like 150 players who did the green track speedrun. So it brought more players on the Trackmania speedrunning scene, but not for a while. And so yeah, there's gonna be some games with really few speedruns like Trackmania Valley, and other games with a lot of speedruns like Nations Forever and Trackmania Stadium. So it's really it is based on the amount of players who already play the game. I mean, Trackmania Valley is like a dead game right now. It's a good game, but there are not many players. And when you look at Trackmania 2020 and Trackmania Stadium, or even Nations Forever, there are still a huge community, so more speedrunners then.
Mm. Yeah, but my sort of point of view of showcasing so many different games is, let's say that I have never watched Trackmania before. I tune into ESA and then I see 3 different Trackmanias. How should a casual fan know where to start? I mean, we are a small community, so if I'm selfish, and I'm always selfish when I speak about my own experience, I want everybody to come into the new Trackmania to feed that scene. Do you think maybe showcasing Trackmania Nations Forever yesterday could maybe hurt the new Trackmania, because eventually new fans then discover a different Trackmania than the new Trackmania?
Well, I don't think so, because Trackmania Nations Forever is still the most popular Trackmania game ever, because it was a free game. It has been played by millions of people, even on school laptops, because you could run it on any computer. And so this is why the video from our virtuals run at ESA last year got like 500,000 views for one of the most popular. So people are definitely interested in Trackmania speedruns, but speedruns on games they already played. So like Trackmania Nations Forever, Trackmania Stadium, and Trackmania 2020. So right now we maybe should focus on speedrunning, on showcasing some 2020 speedruns, but we can still play Nations Forever. People will enjoy it because it's been a game they've been playing for hours, and they really like to see pro players destroying the tracks.
Hmm. I'm talking about your own speedrun. I'm bringing you on as an expert here, but you're also a participant at the ESA speedrun. How was it? You spoke about it. It was hot, but how was the experience? Was it pleasant, or was it still just hot?
It was a really nice experience. It was not my first marathon. It was the biggest I've attended. I've already speedrun Turbo and Kenyan at about 3 or 4 marathons online, but really small marathons. So I was a bit stressed to know that more than 5,000 people were watching me live. So on AO2, I was like checking like crazy on one of the easiest tracks. But on EO3, I was just really calm, and I just crashed into the wall 3 times in a row. So it's not because you stress a lot that you will bonk a lot in walls, but it was a really nice experience. I really love the chat, but I decided to give €1 to charity for every wall hit, and so chat loved counting my wall hits in chat because I did so many and they really loved it.
Now you're broke.
No, that's fine. But, yeah. I mean,
But
I study as an air traffic controller, so I'm paid for my studies, so I'm doing
yeah,
fine.
yeah, okay. But if you look into the future and of speedruns, do you think I had a Riolo on, and he mentioned that he would like his speedrun to be longer, but this campaign in the new Trackmania is short because it's a summer campaign. Then we will have another campaign coming up. But what is the future of speedruns in Trackmania? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be other stuff? Is it still going to be just campaign? Are we going to have community made tracks? Do you have any ideas about what the future can be?
So this is really important because so far we've only made categories out of NADI or made tracks, except for the United, I mean the star tracks on United Forever and on Mania Planet. These were made by the community, but they were like officialized by Nadir. And so with Track of the Day on Trackmania 2020, we decided to create some monthly categories with these tracks. And these Track of the Day categories are really interesting because you got to play community-made maps with beautiful scenery, and most of them are nice to drive, so it's much more pleasant to do this category than doing Summer 2020 or training. So this is why, as starting in September, I've decided to launch like a small contest with a cash prize to get the fastest time on the Track of the Day speedrun. So during all the month of September, people will compete to get the best time on the August 2020 maps, and in the end, the top three will get a small prize, and a random speedrunner will also get a prize to encourage people to participate. And maybe the cash prize will grow bigger with donations or other stuff like that.
But can you tell me how will this competition work? Because from what I've learned after your comments on, I think it was the Let's Talk Trackmania, as a casual viewer, you see just ESA, you press start and you press end once the speedrun is over. So that's why I feel like it's the loading time that essentially I decide the time of that. But you're explaining that there is a mode that only captures once you actually play the maps itself. Can you explain people how does this work, and will this be used in your competition?
Well, in speedruns, you have three different timing methods. First one is real time. You start the timer, you stop the timer, and you do not remove any time in between. So you count loading times, menuing, etc. And so this is not the best timing method for sure if you have a really slow computer. So this is why you also have a real time without loads. You just remove loading times. And then you have an in-game time where you remove loading times and menuing. You just focus on driving in Trackmania, for example. So this is why we decided to use in-game time on most Trackmania games. And we decided to use some scripts to use the timer automatically. Instead of typing your times at the end of each map, it's done automatically, so it's much easier to do. And yeah, so this is really different from speedrun marathons where they have a tight schedule, and to maintain this tight schedule, they need some estimates in real time. And this is why you only hear about real time at speedrun marathons. It's like a showcase. It's not really a competition, but just showcasing the speedrun and providing really good commentary.
But in your competition, it will be just how fast you are on each map.
Yeah, it's gonna be in-game time. So you just download the timer. I'm doing a tutorial right now. I'm updating the speedrun tutorial. It will be released really soon, and then you can just watch it and start speedrunning the new game. And yeah, it will be based on your in-game time. We've got a really good script that was made by a really nice programmer. So hopefully some people will join in and try to compete for the best time on the August 2020 tracks.
Final question from me: what is next for you as speedruns? Are you hoping to speedrun yourself the new Trackmania? Is it still going to be Trackmania 2 Stadium? Are you going to Games Done Quick, ESA? What is the future for you?
Well, I wanted to go to Summer Games Done Quick, but I just forgot to submit for this edition, so I'm really sad that I did not submit, as I saw a virtual run being really appreciated by others. And so, yeah, future for me would be maybe take part to GDQ if next event is online. I don't know, because it's really difficult to go to United States. So this is why we had never seen a Trackmania speedrun in United States before. And yeah, I'm just gonna speedrun the new Trackmania. I can't really right now because my computer suffers from overheating issues. So I need to send it to a report store before I'm able to speedrun the new game. And I need to get back some world records on Trackmania Canyon because I got beaten by a Brit.
Oh
Mr.
no, a
Trolley
Brit as
Molly.
well.
Oh yeah.
But thank you so
And
much for.
I'm maybe also gonna take part to Trackmania Open League. We never know.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, if my computer gets back from the repair so early, I'll try to practice and get into the competitive scene. I haven't made a lot of competitions. I've only been in a few teams. So yeah, driving competitively might be interesting.
Yeah, then it's maybe a reason to bring you back on instead of just you teaching me about speedruns, but
Yeah.
maybe talking about you as a competitor in Open Grand League. But thank you so much for stepping up, and thank you so much for being vocal about the speedrunning community. So guys like myself eventually get to know what this community is all about. So appreciate you taking the time, Rasta, to actually teach me something about Trackmania.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for inviting me to this episode.
That's it for Rasta. Now the next guest should be Granadi, unless he has left because he is disappointed about not being before Rasta. But thanks so much, Rasta, and
Sorry,
yeah, a little break
Granadi.
now.
My bad.